My foster sister became pregnant with my fiancé's child, and he forged a marriage certificate for her. When I gave birth, he caused the baby's death. Later, I found out that my foster sister had accidentally caused my mother's death during surgery that year. He helped destroy evidence, ruin my family, and drove my father to suicide. I also discovered that I was just a substitute he found, modeled after my foster sister, and even the baby was a pawn in his calculations. After my foster sister moved into my home, she provoked me daily. My fiancé had an affair with her in the master bedroom, and Brenda even joined in mocking me. At the cruise gala, my foster sister deliberately orchestrated breaking my leg, so I faked my death by jumping into the sea, and was rescued by kind strangers. When my fiancé learned the truth, he exposed my foster sister, and she was sentenced to life imprisonment. He himself served 3 years in prison. After his release, he deliberately broke his own leg to atone for his actions towards me. I told him to get lost. He eventually committed suicide by the sea. Daniel, who is that mysterious his one true love? How could she make you willing to remain celibate for 30 years for her, and even forge a marriage certificate with Eleanor? Moreover, the baby still had vital signs when delivered by C-section, and with careful care after resuscitation, he definitely could have lived. Yet you prevented the resuscitation. Was that also for her sake? Chloe Miller's expression was curious, and her voice was sweet. Daniel Blackwood's face stiffened. Chloe, don't guess. After a moment of silence, he sighed softly. Marrying Eleanor back then was a mutually beneficial business arrangement. I don't owe her anything for that. It's just that once the baby was born, the lie about amniotic fluid embolism would be easily exposed, and I couldn't allow you to take any risks. It's not easy for you to raise a child alone, and I'm willing to treat him as my own child. Eleanor cherishes me deeply, and if she caused a scene, it would be troublesome. It's better to leave no future problems, and keep it hidden from her forever. Chloe Miller was silent for a moment, then suddenly her voice choked, and she began to cry. It's all my fault that I accidentally caused a patient's death back then, which led to me being fired from the hospital. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had to do so many bad things. For my comeback I owe Eleanor too much. How about we just drop the matter of giving her birth control pills? It wouldn't be a big deal if it were exposed. It would just mean being permanently banned from the profession or going to jail. In fact, I'll call the police and turn myself in right now. Crying, she took out her cell phone. Daniel Blackwood immediately snatched the cell phone, pulled her into his arms, and gently comforted her. Chloe, you're still too kind. That's why Jessica blackmailed you. That was never your fault. There had to be consequences from the amniotic fluid embolism. Giving her a large amount of birth control pills could cause heart failure and also prevent pregnancy. This was my choice. It has nothing to do with you. My greatest wish is for you to be happy. Nothing else matters. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to Eleanor. And I always have a heart for transplant ready, so nothing will happen to her. Just as he finished speaking, Daniel Blackwood's cell phone rang. An excited male voice came through the receiver. Mr. Blackwood, the labor and hush money for the operating room is $8 million. Once the money is transferred, we'll immediately leave Fairview City and absolutely make sure no one knows that your wife's amniotic fluid embolism was just a hoax. My hand holding the fruit basket trembled uncontrollably. After recording everything, I hastily escaped the hospital before Daniel Blackwood discovered me. Wrapped in a hot bath, I still couldn't stop the chill spreading through my body. 3 years ago, my mother died unexpectedly during childbirth. My father risked his entire fortune to sue the doctor for improper surgical procedures, but to his surprise, not only was the evidence destroyed, but our family business also suffered severe financial setbacks. Countless creditors hounded him, driving my father to suicide. Just when I was desperate and helpless, Daniel Blackwood, with his vast fortune, helped me overcome the difficulties. He did everything he could to help me appeal, helped me move past the darkness, and meticulously planned a lavish wedding, silently but firmly expressing his love for me. But only now did I realize what I thought was our supposed love at first sight and enduring partnership was merely Daniel Blackwood's escape from the shackles of marriage. The amniotic fluid embolism and the baby's death were no accident at all. It was all a pawn in his elaborate scheme for Chloe Miller's comeback. My proud marriage, the child who was about to arrive, all of it was a carefully woven dream. Daniel Blackwood didn't return until dawn. He hugged me from behind and kissed me. My wife, thank you for giving me such an innocent and adorable baby. I swear, I will do everything to protect both you and our son. The dim light of night hid my tear-streaked face. I pretended to be asleep, gently nuzzling his chin. Daniel Blackwood fell silent. After tucking me in, he fell into a deep sleep. I pulled away his hand, that was tightly wrapped around my waist, and walked into his study. The computer password was my birthday. On the desktop was an eternal love folder, expressing affection simply and directly. Clicking it open, I saw it was filled entirely with photos of Chloe Miller, over 10,000 of them. They were neatly categorized by age, like a small art museum. My feelings for Chloe seemed to have changed. I'm certain now, I love her. Because a damn Jessica went abroad, I can't see her all the time. I truly want to lock her in a room so she'll forever belong only to me. Chloe said she's pregnant. I was insanely jealous, but reason told me I should take care of things for her first, then get Eleanor pregnant and do a baby swap. As long as Chloe's child is with me, she'll always be by my side. In addition, he had a special folder comparing me and Chloe Miller. After comparing 3D skull models, height, weight, and measurements, every outfit he gave me was what Chloe Miller had worn abroad. Looking at Chloe Miller's photos, I almost wondered if we were twin sisters. But in reality, I was just a carefully crafted substitute for Daniel Blackwood, and even the baby was a sacrifice. Daniel Blackwood was looking through me, at the lover he yearned for in his dreams. The last line of their most recent chat log showed that Daniel Blackwood's his love was fiery and overt. My child merely died. Compared to your child having to bear the stigma of being illegitimate, it's insignificant. Chloe, give birth to the baby without worry. I will definitely give you a home. My eyes ached intolerably from looking at the computer. Overwhelming nausea churned in my stomach, and I fell to the ground and gagged. Daniel Blackwood had no love for me. It was all lies and deceit. Suddenly, the light was turned on. Daniel Blackwood had been woken by my movements. He nervously picked me up, and called Brenda to bring me a cup of warm milk. I'm sorry, Eleanor, I didn't take good care of you. The doctor said newborns shouldn't be separated from their mothers for too long. How about we bring the baby home tomorrow? I nodded. The baby would be brought back sooner or later, I couldn't stop it. Daniel Blackwood was beaming with joy, gently bringing the milk to my lips. This is wonderful, our family of 3 will be reunited soon. I obediently took a few sips, then ran to the bathroom and spat the milk into a paper cup. Early the next morning, Daniel Blackwood mysteriously produced a gift box. Eleanor, thank you for bearing my child. I will love you forever. Inside was a fully diamond-encrusted Harry Winston necklace. Before I could react, the doorbell rang. Opening the door, I saw Chloe Miller holding the baby, followed by over a dozen movers. She looked at me, her smile openly challenging. Eleanor, I'm Dr. Mu, who performed your amniotic fluid embolism surgery. Newborns need to be breastfed, and there's a lot to it. Mr. Blackwood specifically hired me as a private physician. You don't mind, do you? Seeing the dazzling matching necklace around her neck, my eyes narrowed. I stepped aside to make way. Daniel Blackwood, seeing my silence, immediately explained. Yes, the baby was delivered by Dr. Mu. Your amniotic fluid embolism was special, and having her here will ensure better care for the baby. Chloe Miller smiled faintly. As parents, you'd certainly do anything for your child. Your master bedroom, which has good light and is spacious, should be fine for me and the baby, shouldn't it? I've brought my things, and I've also arranged for the moving company. As she spoke, she subtly glanced at me, radiating the air of a victor. When her gaze fell upon the gift box on the dining table, which hadn't yet been put away, she couldn't suppress the smirk on her lips. Suddenly, a message popped up on my cell phone. I looked down and saw it was from Daniel Blackwood. Eleanor, the private physician was decided last minute, and I didn't consult you. You're not upset, aren't you? I chuckled softly. With your family of 3 about to reunite, any anger from me would be futile. Chloe Miller moved into the master bedroom as she wished, and the home's decor completely changed due to her arrival. That evening, my chest was swollen and painful, and I needed a breast pump. I called Daniel Blackwood and Brenda several times to no avail, so I struggled to get up and search for it. But as I reached the master bedroom door, I saw Chloe Miller tugging at Daniel Blackwood's tie, approaching him step by step. Daniel, my chest is swollen and painful during lactation, and using the breast pump hasn't helped. Can you help me? Chloe, Daniel Blackwood tried hard to control his voice, but after years of marriage, how could I not know he was already aroused? Chloe Miller boldly stepped forward and kissed his eyes. Daniel, I know you have his one true love, and don't want to touch me, but why could you touch Eleanor Vance? Chloe is jealous of her, jealous that she could have all of you, jealous that she could stand by your side as Mrs. Blackwood. Daniel, I respect you, but I can't control my feelings. Chloe is suffering, please take pity on me and help me, won't you? Daniel Blackwood's dress pants completely betrayed his arousal, yet he still pushed Chloe Miller away. Eleanor is still home. If she finds out, his remaining words were drowned out by Chloe Miller's kiss. Daniel Blackwood could no longer resist. He held Chloe Miller's head and fiercely returned the kiss. In the quiet air, the sound of tearing clothes was especially clear. My ears buzzed. When I heard Brenda's footsteps approaching, I hastily fled to the corner. After seeing the indecent scene inside, the two Brenda's voices were both shocked and delighted. The young master and Miss Chloe. This is wonderful. If Madam knew, she'd be thrilled. If it weren't for the young master, being constrained by his family relationship with Miss Chloe, why would he have married this one? She swindled 100 million from him, the moment she walked in, a greedy, shameless opportunist. Her parents are dead, why didn't she die with them? Not only that, she also manipulated him into moving out. He rarely returns to the family estate, and this remote location makes the young master travel back and forth every day. Just seeing it makes him devastated. Eleanor Vance is simply a jinx. Miss Chloe is still too kind. Knowing Eleanor Vance isn't a good person, and worried the baby boy might turn out bad, she specifically came here to be a postpartum nurse. Every word from Brenda struck my heart like a heavy hammer, firm and powerful, leaving me in excruciating pain. My hands clenched tightly, then released weakly. I clutched my chest and ran back to the bedroom, printing a divorce agreement. But as I touched the warm paper, it suddenly occurred to me that Daniel Blackwood had forged my marriage certificate with him. I didn't even have the right to accuse him. The child, the infidelity, Brenda's mockery, these were all the standing of a legitimate wife. I had none of it. I was merely a stranger blinded by a carefully woven dream in this household. Daniel Blackwood didn't return all night. The notification he sent me on my cell phone said it was due to an urgent company matter. The next morning, he came to my bedside holding a large bouquet of roses. My wife, happy 3rd anniversary. I'll love you forever. The open ring box brazenly displayed matching rings engraved with the initials, DL. Daniel Blackwood, Eleanor Vance. Yet, there was a fresh hickey on his raised collar that hadn't been concealed in time, one Chloe Miller had left last night. There would always be another person mixed in between him and me. I wanted to laugh, but my chat lips cracked and bled, blurring my vision with pain and tears. Could one truly love someone to the point of becoming numb? Daniel Blackwood thought I was crying from emotion. He gently wiped away my tears, and put the ring on my finger. Eleanor, I will love you forever, and protect you and the baby for a lifetime. But Daniel Blackwood, we weren't married, and the baby wasn't even mine. What right did you have to protect me? A notification of identity nullification popped up on my cell phone. I quickly swiped it away. Daniel Blackwood still saw it at a glance, and nervously asked, what nullification? I didn't answer. Chloe Miller walked in through the doorway, carrying warm milk. Daniel Blackwood didn't press further. Holding my hand, he said, Eleanor, I know you spent a long time planning the anniversary dinner, but Dr. Mu's celebration party couldn't find a suitable venue. How about we change our dinner to a celebration party instead? Dr. Mu saved your life, and she's kindly offered to be our private physician. What do you say? The question was posed to me, but in reality, he already had the answer. I raised my hand and gently stroked his face. Okay, go ahead and make the arrangements. Seeing me so docile, Daniel Blackwood felt inexplicably uneasy, but he instinctively chose to ignore it. Eleanor, I knew you were the most understanding. After this, I will definitely make it up to you with a better one. I stared blankly at him. I'm afraid there won't be a next time. On the international waters, the large cruise ship was brilliantly lit, splendid and magnificent. Chloe Miller, in a flowing aquamarine gown accentuating her graceful figure, became the center of attention. She linked arms with Daniel Blackwood, chatting and laughing freely among the guests. From a distance, it seemed as if they were the couple. While guests looked on with envy, they all cast scornful glances at me. Mr. Blackwood and Dr. Mu are truly a match made in heaven. Eleanor Vance, who is she? A low-born gold digger. Even giving birth she encountered amniotic fluid embolism. She's certainly getting her karma. Look at her outfit. When she went to toast just now, I thought she was Dr. Mu. How unlucky, a copycat. Exactly. Knowing Dr. Mu's parents died and she was adopted by the Dwan family, she copied her. Maybe she even killed her own parents to step over her parents' graves to marry into wealth. The whispers grew louder. Daniel Blackwood noticed the situation, quickly walked over, and pulled me aside. Eleanor, why don't you go back to your room first? You look tired. You don't need to come down for the dance later. He hastily told a waiter to escort me back to my room, as if I truly were a disgraceful airhead. Once back, I quietly packed up the room I had meticulously decorated for a year. The photos on the photo wall were torn off one by one and thrown out the window, carried by the wind into the sea. The matching rings and necklace I wore were all carefully taken off and packed to be picked up by an auction website tomorrow. And the wedding photo in the very center, I smashed the frame and cut into pieces with scissors. All memories and traces were consigned to the sea by me. After I finished everything, the door opened and Chloe Miller appeared, holding an iron hammer. Eleanor Vance, how does it feel to be hurt? You looked as pathetic as a dog now. Where are you packing up to go? Still playing that identity nullification trick. Do you think Daniel will care about you like that? I looked up in disbelief. You tracked and investigated me. Chloe Miller burst out laughing. Back then, with just a few tears from me, Daniel could drive your father to suicide. Investigating you was effortless. You really are stupid and malicious, just like your mother. Your mother was so old and still wanted to get pregnant and have a baby. My first incision wasn't precise, and a second one ended her life. Her weak body caused me to face a murder charge. Daniel cared for me, destroyed all evidence overnight, and arranged for your family's assets to be severely impacted, just to get me out of the country. Daniel doesn't love you at all, he just wants to drown you in a false sense of security. Stop constantly clamoring for an appeal. You ungrateful daughter, you've really become desensitized. The moment Daniel heard I was pregnant, he immediately thought of the baby swap trick. The baby still had vital signs when delivered by C-section from your womb, but her features strikingly resembled yours, which was equally repulsive. So, Daniel also found him annoying and had him drowned in a bucket. You'll forever be just a scapegoat Daniel prepared for me. Don't even think about stealing an ounce of his love. I trembled uncontrollably. I could never have imagined that my mother's death was also caused by Chloe Miller. And the help I'd been grateful for all this time was just a means to buy more time for Chloe Miller's escape. I lunged forward, but Chloe Miller shoved me hard and slapped me fiercely. She grabbed my hand, placed it on the hand holding the hammer, and gave me a malicious smile. Then, she savagely slammed it into her own right hand. The next second, I was forcibly pushed to the ground. Daniel Blackwood held Chloe Miller in his arms, turned, and roared at me. Eleanor Vance, are you crazy? Others who arrived and saw the scene screamed frantically. Murderer. You vicious woman. What's the difference between breaking a doctor's hand and killing someone? Turn back immediately. The medical facilities on board aren't sufficient for this situation. Dr. Mu probably wouldn't be able to hold surgical forceps again. Chloe Miller was sobbing uncontrollably. Daniel, I just wanted to invite her to dance, and she suddenly went crazy, took a hammer, and broke my hand, constantly saying I was trying to seduce you. Eleanor, what did I do to upset you? If you tell me, I'll change. Why do you want to ruin my medical career? If I can't be a doctor, I don't want to live anymore. Let me die. With that, she clutched her arm and rushed towards the deck. Daniel Blackwood pulled her into his arms and glared at me grimly. Eleanor, you're truly becoming more and more reckless, relying on my favoritism. Someone, break one of her legs, as an apology to Chloe. I stared at him in disbelief. After 3 years with the man I shared my life with, he wouldn't even listen to a single explanation from me. The bodyguards kept closing in, and I kept retreating until the dark, deep ocean was behind me. Daniel Blackwood pulled me closer and whispered in my ear. Eleanor, this is what you owe Chloe, and you must pay it back. Don't worry, even if you become disabled, I won't have any disdain for you. Tears streamed down my face, and I kept shaking my head. But it was futile. Accompanied by agonizing pain, a large amount of blood gushed from my leg. The dull thud from my left leg's bone was terrifying to hear. I was so scared that my mind went blank. Daniel Blackwood glanced at me, then carried Chloe Miller to the cabin for treatment, leaving me ignored on the deck. The pale moonlight mingled with the color of blood, as I crawled step by step towards the sea. Early the next morning, Daniel Blackwood came to see me, carrying breakfast. But he heard someone shout, "Oh no, Mrs. Blackwood jumped into the sea last night." The steaming hot porridge spilled all over the floor. Daniel Blackwood ran onto the deck, grabbed the person's collar, and asked, "What did you say? Who jumped into the sea?" His face was so grim it looked like it could drip water. The crew member was on the verge of tears from fright. This morning, someone reported that several fishing boats were suspiciously in the vicinity last night. I immediately checked the surveillance footage and saw Mrs. Blackwood jumping into the sea. The crew member took out his cell phone, which Daniel Blackwood snatched away. On the surveillance footage, I was curled up in the darkness, covered in blood. Shortly after, I slowly crawled towards the deck, the sea, and then disappeared into the night. Without a moment's hesitation, with a clear resolve to die. Just watching the video, one could feel the despair, let alone imagine the state of mind of the person involved. Daniel Blackwood's body trembled uncontrollably. Without thinking, he leapt into the sea. "Eleanor Vance, come out." When he woke up again, his nose filled with the smell of antiseptic. In a blur, he saw a woman's figure sitting beside him. The air was filled with the familiar scent of chicken soup. The weight on his mind was lifted. Excellent. Eleanor has been saved. Eleanor, the chicken soup you made smells so good. I'll definitely finish it all this time. Thinking of the kiss as a reward he would get after finishing the chicken soup, Daniel Blackwood's lips unconsciously curved upward. But a voice broke his fantasy. "Daniel, what are you talking about? I went to great lengths to make this chicken soup. Eleanor Vance is truly something else, causing such a fuss about faking her death. She must have swindled a lot of money from you. After being married for so many years, she must have planned to run away a long time ago. She clearly broke my hand, yet she jumped into the sea in public, making it seem as if I had bullied her. Daniel, I want to hold a press conference to announce that due to my hand injury, I will no longer practice medicine. Can you help me contact the media?" However, Daniel Blackwood ignored her request, and instead called his assistant, asking for more people to be dispatched to search for the fishing boat. "No matter the cost, find Eleanor Vance. Otherwise, everyone on this ship will be buried with her." Chloe Miller never expected that the person, who was usually as gentle as water, would throw such a big tantrum, and it was the first time he had ignored her because of Eleanor Vance. After he hung up, Chloe Miller took Daniel Blackwood's hand and pouted. "Daniel, I don't believe Eleanor Vance would commit suicide by jumping into the sea. She's definitely playing hard to get. Seeing you going to great lengths to find her, she's probably hiding somewhere, laughing from some dark corner. Daniel, I know this type of woman best. She's just jealous and wants to harm me. Breaking my hand wasn't enough. She also wants to sow discord between us. But she doesn't consider that a relationship is not something she could possibly disrupt. Who is she anyway?" Chloe Miller moved intimately close to Daniel Blackwood, attempting to kiss his lips. Daniel looked at the approaching face, at the familiar scent. Before, he would have desperately desired it, but now he found it uninteresting. The image that kept appearing in his mind was that of the girl whose eyes shining with admiration. Whenever she saw him, she would trust him unconditionally, and eagerly look forward to a future with him. But what about him? He had concealed her parents' deaths, helped a murderer escape abroad, and, even worse, personally killed his own child and made her raise someone else's. Daniel Blackwood had never thought about these things before, but the moment he did, his entire heart twisted in agonizing pain. Both he and Chloe Miller were guilty. Showed they feel indebted to her. Why did they hurt her again and again? And what right did Chloe Miller have to accuse her? The Chloe Miller in his mind was pure and kind, someone he needed to protect. But now, everything about her felt strange. Daniel Blackwood forcefully pushed Chloe Miller away, pulled out the IV drip, and sharply reprimanded her. "Eleanor Vance is your sister-in-law, my wife whom I married in a lavish wedding. She doesn't need to sow any discord. I've already paid for your hand with her leg. Stop being passive-aggressive and speaking ill of Eleanor. Go back for now. Until I find Eleanor, I won't rest until." With that, he disregarded the blood on his hand, and quickly walked out of the hospital room. No matter how Chloe Miller tried to persuade him to stay, it was useless. He returned to the cabin and saw the things I hadn't yet had time to take with me. A thin identity nullification agreement, with Eleanor Vance, signed at the bottom. A new ID card and passport were in a small bag, and Daniel Blackwood knew nothing of any of it. They lived under the same roof, yet he was completely unaware that his wife was going to fake her death. How little did he care for such an oversight to occur? He slumped onto the chair, looking completely disoriented. At that time, he was immersed in the joy of helping Chloe restart her career, and immersed in the happiness of having Chloe and the baby by his side. He had completely overlooked that his Eleanor had just given birth to his child. Daniel Blackwood's eyes were blurred with tears, and he frantically slapped himself repeatedly. But his Eleanor did not appear. At the very bottom of the small bag was a cell phone. He tried countless passwords, finally unlocking the screen with the birthday he was least sure of. The screensaver was their wedding photo. The cell phone had surprisingly few apps, mostly system defaults, except for one app that recorded a couple's moods, which seemed out of place. For 3 years, 1,095 days, it meticulously recorded his mood every single day, along with the reasons. Tough exterior, soft heart, doesn't like bananas, favorite geisha coffee beans. Every little detail, just by reading the text, one could vividly portray the person in their mind. Yet now, he had lost the person who loved him so much. The cell phone screen became wet with continuous tears, accidentally triggering the photo album. Everything inside had been cleared, leaving only 2 recorded videos. The first was his conversation with Chloe Miller at the hospital. The second was the video of him and Chloe Miller's entanglement in the master bedroom that night. There was also a test report showing a large amount of birth control pills in the milk. Daniel Blackwood's face turned pale, and a frantic urge to see Eleanor Vance surged within him. He wanted to explain, to apologize, to persuade her to stay and not let her leave. But there was no opportunity. The fishing boat went missing and still hadn't been found, and there wasn't even a single contact who knew her recent whereabouts. His parents had long since been directly or indirectly killed by him. On the boundless sea, Eleanor Vance was a lone boat, seeing him as her only lighthouse. The boat went missing, and the lighthouse also lost its purpose. Suddenly, Daniel Blackwood's cell phone rang with a message from a crew member, a surveillance video. He opened the video, and it was the very segment where Chloe Miller came to find me with a hammer. A few days later, I woke up in an unfamiliar room. Before me was an unfamiliar, gentle face. Seeing me wake, the woman wept with joy. "Eleanor, I'm the mother who once contacted you. You really are so much like my daughter. I'm truly delighted that you agreed to come and stay with me." A year ago, I posted a photo of Daniel Blackwood and me on social media. A stranger messaged me, saying I was very similar to her missing, deceased daughter, and wanted to meet to ease the pain of missing her. At that time, I had just become pregnant and didn't dare to agree lightly, so I contacted her online. Her speaking habits were also similar to my deceased mother's. Both their names had a similar characteristic. After exposing Daniel's deception, I faked my death and nullified my identity, deciding to become her daughter. Patricia Peterson also had a son, who was already married. He too shed tears of emotion upon seeing me. "Sister, my sister is back. Don't worry, the fishing boat is my wife's private property. No matter how much they investigate, they won't trace it back to you. From now on, you'll live with my mother on this Haven Isle, guaranteed that those who harmed you won't find you. I've already had your leg examined by the best orthopedic doctor in the town. He said the person who injured you did so with a hidden motive, and held back their full strength, so it will heal with rest. Don't worry, I will never let anyone hurt you again." This was a coastal Haven Isle. Patricia Peterson was a teacher in the town, respected by everyone. During the time my leg was injured, countless villagers brought things to check on my recovery, crying and saying that Patricia Peterson's good deeds were being rewarded, and her daughter had finally returned. Watching Patricia Peterson diligently preparing for lessons under the lamplight, a memory flashed in my mind of my own mother also preparing legal documents for court like this. My luck wasn't entirely bad. My mother was gone, but heaven had given me a new one. Chloe Miller held the press conference as scheduled. She wore a simple suit, and her face appeared even more haggard due to her makeup. She stood on stage, raising her grotesquely twisted right hand. "I am truly sorry, but I must permanently leave this warm community of medicine. I know many patients need my help, but there's nothing I can do. My hand was broken by certain individuals, and I truly wouldn't be able to hold surgical forceps again." She covered her face and wept bitterly. Below, people buzzed with discussion, and camera flashes created streaks of light. A reporter asked, "Excuse me, is that certain individual, Mrs. Blackwood, Eleanor Vance?" Chloe Miller wiped away her tears, feigning strength. "I'm sorry, I have no comment on that. These words caused a stir among the audience. Isn't he Eleanor Vance, that airhead Mrs. Blackwood? She must have been jealous of Dear Moo to have done such a vicious thing. Isn't he her mother, the one who caused Dear Moo to lose her position? It wasn't he enough for the mother to harm people. The daughter has to continue causing trouble. I heard she already jumped into the international waters herself. How gratifying. Mr. Blackwood and Dear Moo are the most suitable match. The discussions grew louder, and Chloe Miller could barely suppress the smile on her lips. Seeing Daniel Blackwood approaching, she excitedly ran towards him. Daniel Blackwood recoiled from her touch in disgust. I could never be with you. He nodded to a staff member, and the big screen switched to footage of Chloe Miller operating in the surgery room. On screen, Chloe Miller wore heavy makeup. Her surgical gown was loosely tied, and she was constantly verbally abusing the laboring patient. Jessica's screams were terrifying, yet Chloe Miller drew the surgical knife across her stomach. When the first incision wasn't precise, she made another. Finally, Jessica had a difficult birth, and both mother and baby died. After watching, the entire audience gasped with shock and horror. Oh my God, Dear Moo actually abused a patient, and literally caused both mother and baby to die. What a luminary in obstetrics. That's all bullshit. A charlatan who seeks fame. This is disregarding human lives. Isn't he this patient Eleanor Vance's mother? First she caused the death of someone's mother, then stealing someone's husband. It's utterly disgusting. Chloe Miller's entire face was pale. Bewilderedly pulling at Daniel Blackwood, she cried and asked, "Where did you get this video?" Daniel Blackwood didn't reply to her but motioned for the staff to switch the video again. This segment showed Chloe Miller provoking me inside the cabin, clearly recording her own hand grabbing mine, and slamming it into her own hand. After watching, the entire hall fell silent, then erupted in even louder exclamations. Reporters frantically swarmed Chloe Miller, their microphones almost drowning her. Dr. Moo, are the videos just shown true? What's your explanation? Chloe Miller fiercely pushed the reporters away and ran towards Daniel Blackwood, completely on the verge of collapse. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Didn't you like me the most? Don't you know I'll be completely ruined if all this is exposed? She desperately pulled at Daniel Blackwood, but he ignored her, pushing her harshly to the ground. Because you made me lose Eleanor. Chloe Miller collapsed onto the floor, then cried, and laughed after hearing his words, finally raising her face streaked with tears. Stop pretending, Daniel Blackwood. Weren't you the one who caused Eleanor Vance's loss with your own hands? The illusion of amniotic fluid embolism was your idea first, and the baby delivered by C-section from her womb was also drowned by your order. You did all of this yourself. I didn't lay a hand on it. Yet now you're telling me I made you lose Eleanor. Daniel Blackwood, you are truly despicable. When you were with Eleanor Vance, you were longing for me, and when you were with me, you were reminiscing about Eleanor. Now that everything's ruined, are you happy? What about me? What am I supposed to do? Daniel Blackwood's expression was resolute. This is all you reaping what you sow. I will seek justice for Eleanor, piece by piece. I've done so much for you, I don't owe you anything. Now, I only owe Eleanor. The police arrived quickly and reopened the investigation into my mother's case. Chloe Miller was permanently etched onto the pillar of medical shame. She was sentenced to life imprisonment for intentional homicide, covering up medical malpractice, and other offenses. Daniel Blackwood, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 3 years. I saw this shocking scene on TV, and tears streamed down my face. My mother was actually tormented like that before she died. How much pain must she have endured? And her only daughter was kept in the dark, marrying her tormentor. I secretly returned to my parents' grave to pay respects at their grave and atone. Patricia Peterson and Mark Peterson took care of me in every way, helping me move past the darkness. As Patricia Peterson grew older, teaching began to feel overwhelming. I voluntarily took on this responsibility, starting to bring new knowledge to this small town. My leg became healthier day by day, eventually fully recovered, and my mood, with the company of many loved ones, became calm and peaceful. Everything from the past felt like a distant memory, scattered to every corner by the wind, but it lingered nonetheless. 3 years passed in a flash. On my way home after teaching, I met Daniel Blackwood again. His face was filled with surprise. Eleanor, I've found you. I finally found you. I'm sorry, I've missed you so much. I was so foolish before. I was wrong, Eleanor. Daniel Blackwood was so agitated he was incoherent. I warily stepped back, ready to rush to the nearby security booth at any moment. Sensing my unease, Daniel Blackwood stopped, then proudly presented a box. Inside, upon opening it, was a segment of leg bone, emitting a pungent smell. Only then did I notice that Daniel Blackwood's left leg was a prosthetic leg. I'm sorry, Eleanor, I misunderstood you. I saw the video. It was Chloe Miller who first provoked and harmed you. I've already punished her. This is my own punishment. Don't be afraid. My leg is undergoing treatment, and I'm preparing to use the latest prosthetic technology. Once it's fitted, it'll be just like a normal leg. Before he could finish, I interrupted him, unable to bear it any longer. So what? Whatever you do, it has nothing to do with me anymore. I'm doing very well now. Daniel Blackwood's face froze, and pain flashed in his eyes. I'm sorry, I was presumptuous again. Then, Eleanor, tell me, you can ask for any compensation, as long as you're willing to come back to me. I sneered at him. Impossible. I don't need any compensation. My only thought is to kill you. You should be grateful you live in a society with laws. You helped the murderer who killed my mother escape the country, personally caused my father's death, and then brought me home while keeping me in the dark. Without even a marriage certificate, I was, at best, a mistress. After hurting me so deeply, you now ask for forgiveness. Are you crazy, or do you take me for a fool? Daniel Blackwood shook his head repeatedly, shedding tears of guilt. I'm sorry, Eleanor, truly sorry. I will spend the rest of my life to atone. Please, just one last chance. I said coldly. Give you a chance? Then who will give my deceased parents a chance? If my parents were looking down on us, from beyond and saw us still together, what would they think? Just get lost, and don't disturb my life anymore. After I finished speaking, I walked forward without looking back. Behind me, Daniel Blackwood called out, Do you truly not want me to disturb you? Yes, never disturb me again. I don't want anything to do with you. As I spoke these words, I didn't even stop my forward steps. Daniel Blackwood stood on that haven aisle for a long time, not leaving until dawn broke. 3 days later, fishermen caught a body while fishing. The body was already in a bloated state of decomposition, and his body was badly mutilated by fish. But at first glance, I still recognized the body as Daniel Blackwood. His assistant called me, saying I was the sole beneficiary of his will. I didn't take a single penny of the multi-billion-dollar estate, donating it all to charity. From then on, he and I would never be entangled again.